Hi everybody. I thought I'd have a change of location this week. I came out here to do my weekly videos for the members in Patreon and I thought it's lovely here. It's a fairly still day. I'm next to one of my favourite trees and I thought why don't I just stay here and talk about the chapter that we're reading this week with the book group. And it's chapter 11 and it's called The World, All Is Well. And I haven't got the book with me. I've realised I started recording so excited to be next to the tree without the book. But to be fair, I don't think there's a section I want to read this week, because the thing that I just want to talk about is the fact everything is all well already, exactly as things are. And I'm going to just share an example of that to bring it to life that I read in my kids' little newspaper. They get the News Weekly Junior. If you get that for your kids, isn't it great? If you don't, then I really recommend it. I love it. It's like my primary place to go for news. But there were two stories in there about evolution and nature. One was that they've noticed that elephants have stopped being born with tusks. And this seems to be a natural evolutionary response to the fact that tusks have been so sought after and therefore elephants hunted for that ivory. And so it seems like nature has adjusted and started changing the experience, the genetics of the babies who are being born, so that fewer of them are born with tusks, because then it means more of them survive, because they're not going to be hunted for their tusks, for the ivory. And also there was a story about, it was an eagle of some kind in the Arctic, I think it was, where they can be either a grey colour or a brown colour, the grey being perfect to disguise them in the snow, and the brown when the snow's not there. And they've noticed how many more are brown now, because there's less snow and therefore less need to be disguised against it. And so although we could say we'd rather there weren't hunters killing elephants, we'd rather there was snow not being melted by climate change, just notice how the responsiveness of nature is just to be with and work with and be in alignment with what's happening. The elephants aren't protesting against the hunters. They're not up in arms about it. They're not trying to fight against. They're just responding in the moment to say, yeah, there's going to be fewer babies with tusks. And of course, they're not even doing it. See that intelligence of life that is naturally, automatically adjusting the experience of elephants and eagles to match their environment. And that's what we are too. And the more we come out of our ideas of the mind, the more we feel that, the more we are that, and in connection with that, flowing and evolving with the moment, rather than fighting with it or trying to make it something different than it is. So activism is great. If you're being activist about something, fine. We have that incredible capacity as a human, which an elephant doesn't have. And check, is it really coming from a loving, peaceful, aligned place? Or is it coming from a war inside? Is it coming from an anger and from a resistance? We've been so conditioned to think that if we're going to change anything, it has to come with that anger and resistance. But actually, paradoxically, that anger and resistance just keeps the whole thing stuck and keeps the whole thing in play exactly as it is. So whatever you're experiencing in life, whether it's just your day-to-day experience or whether you've been up in Glasgow with COP26, doesn't matter. Just it's always that inner check. Is there an alignment with this? Is there a peacefulness with this? Because if there's not, it's purely because you've gone out of connection, you've gone into the mind and into its stories which are saying, not this. And the instant we drop out of that, we see everything's okay already. We see that we have that same responsiveness as the elephants and the eagles. And that responsiveness can absolutely include really strong words and actions. But it just comes from love. And that's where real change comes from. So tell me what you hear in this. Tell me what occurs to you. I'd love to hear what you think. And I'll be back next week with chapter 12, the final chapter. Thanks for watching.